How do you strategize a brand?
So, so I think when a new brand comes in, or when an existing brand would come up with, let's say, a requirement for, let's say, a campaign, I think first thing to do is, like what we spoke about earlier, one, of course, is getting that right brief and asking the right questions and decoding that brief.
Yeah.
But the second thing also after that, which is very important, is research.
Research, analyzing the whole product.
Yeah, because if you don't do that bit correctly, then there are chances where you will miss something out.
Correct, those are the roots.
Yeah, and so a very important part of the strategy is to do research in terms of, okay, one, what are we looking for? Secondly, does something like this exist already? Have any other brands done a similar thing? Is there any kind of trend that fits in with this requirement? Is there something that, let's say, we can explore where some other brand or some other, even some other work online, you have to kind of look at everything. You have to kind of look at, okay, what kind of articles are talking about these topics. And you do like a sort of a 360 research in terms of, this is what I'm going to take forward from the problem statement that the brand came with. And once you get your research together, what you start to realize is that, okay, now is where we can develop a content strategy. So then that's where the content team would step in. And usually it's a collaborative process along with design and the account managers, account directors. So it's kind of very holistic in that way, because strategy is not going to come from one person, right? And you need all the ideas, you need all the brains working together. And what we also do is that so like I was saying earlier, we do a lot of parallel work, right? So while this research bit is also happening, at the same time design research is also happening. So then everything converges into what we give the brand, which is like, let's say we present to them what the strategy is going to be, where is it, so it becomes like an analysis that where are they lacking right now, what are the opportunities that are out there, and how can we capitalize on those. And then therefore here is our execution part of it, which is going to address all of the above.
Of this. So Anirudh, how does the design strategy go into a brand?
So let's say, for example, the requirement from a brand is to rebrand them completely, right? And provided we've done the part of research content, all of that. Now, specifically talking about design, I think what we kind of do with our team is we'll start off by looking at what we have currently. Where does the brand stand currently?
With the design
aspect, is it something that, is the problem that they're a bit old school in their, let's say, logo design? Or overall as a brand, is there something that they can, that visual is not connecting to their brand values, for example.
Okay.
So then from that research, from that content, we try to see that, okay, now here are, let's say, the 3 brand values. In the visual that the brand currently has, or their whole visual identity, these brand values are not coming across. So how do you then maybe put those brand values into, let's say, their logo? Now,
but keeping the essence of.
But keeping that, So now their logo, a lot of the times brands will be like, I want to redesign my logo completely.
Correct.
Sometimes they'll be like, I want to keep the essence of the logo, but just modernize it. So keeping all of those things in mind, like we go into thumbnailing some ideas, some initial things where the entire team is involved. So we'll do as many thumbnails as possible of how, keeping in mind those brand values, keeping in mind what the client wants. what can the logo look like? And of course, this is where you also do your research. As a designer, you do your research on online about whatever the trends are, what kind of similar brands are there, etc., etc. What is the current visual identities that are fitting in with this brand? So that will take care of the modernizing bit of it. Now, after this whole thumbnailing process, once we narrow down onto, let's say, 2 options or 3 options, we start to finalize those. And when we start to finalize those, that's where we get into refining the logo, thinking about what kind of color palette would work. Again, keeping in mind the essence of the brand, what colors. Does this brand need a lot of colors? Is it very vibrant, or is it very classy and understated? So, depending on the nature of the brand, then we'll change that whole, or we'll work on that whole color palette aspect. We'll work on the typography in that same way. So, because a lot of the times, even the fonts that you choose will give the brand its identity. Right?
Correct, 100%. Yeah.
It differs from brand to brand, to brand tone to brand tone. So, and then moving forward, what we will do is we will eventually compile this information into a brand book.
Yeah.
And I think a brand book then becomes a very integral part of the brand identity.
It's like, the content of
it's the Bible.
Yeah,
so then anybody moving forward, if it's not even us, anybody else has access to this sort of brand Bible that they can look at, and they know that, okay, this is the identity of the brand and we're not going to go away from it. So as designers, then we'll set all of that in place. We'll set what kind of imagery we're going to use. What is that imagery tone going to be? Is it going to be like a very warm kind of thing? Is it going to be very like grays and blues or greens, whatever? And also, what kind of illustration styles might be in it? How does the logo placement in terms of safe area and all of that, how is that going to be? How is that going to change when it comes to print, when it comes to digital, when it comes to video? How is it going to change depending on what backgrounds you have, what colors you have, etc., etc. So that's by and large the process that we follow with the design team.
It just looks so simple when we just look at a logo, but the process.
Yeah, that's what
people don't know about it.
There's a lot of
what the process is.
Background goes into it.
Yeah, a lot of background goes into it. Because you have to be very particular on that from the start till the end.
Yeah, correct.
So Anirudh, what are the new design trends in the market?
See, I think with design trends, the scene is such that it's very circular.
Yeah.
Right. So every few years, you'll kind of come back to those design trends.
So the retros are back.
Yeah, they become cool again.
Yeah.
So like right now, there's a lot of Y2K design. There's a lot of bold typography design that's happening.
Sure.
There is a lot of 3D and 2D mix.
2D mix, yeah.
Then there is some like very retro-futuristic. Right. And these are some of the things that I can think of off the top of my head. But I feel like one thing that also stays constant is minimalism.
Yeah,
of course.
that's always been there.
Right. And because a lot of the brands, depending on what they exactly want, they would want to go for a minimal style.
Yeah.
But I think like I said, it's circular in nature. It will always come back. And like few things will trend now, and then 4 years later they'll trend again. 5 years later they'll trend again. So I think the key is to stay in the moment and to, like as a designer, to be very observant about what is happening out there, right? Because every designer has always maybe followed some, let's say, another designer or another studio. So for that, I feel that they always need to be observant about what it is that is going on. And, and it's not just that one person or one entity that you follow, but even otherwise, what is going on in the market? How are designs speaking to people, right? How much is it about the form and how much is it about the function? All of those things, as long as you are observant about it, you will also start to realize that, okay, yeah, so I have trend A, I have trend B. Maybe I can make a trend C out of it.
You can do that as well.
Yeah. And it's really like, initially, obviously, everything seems, it takes time to accept it. But I feel like if you're really convinced about it, if you're really motivated about it, and if you're really proactive about it, you would be able to move forward and create your own sort of what fits for your brand. So it could be a mix of trends.
A mix of trends.
Yeah.
Create your own style.
But yeah, I mean, you can always fall back to things that are trending currently, and take it from there.
All these things, do you think that how does the Indian market sink into this new trends? Do you think that they'll take a lot of time?
No, I think with Indian market,
it's growing and they were accepting everything new.
Yeah, see, that part is there, that there is that growth where mentally, I think the Indian audience is also ready to accept
I think so,
design for design.
Yeah.
But also at the same time, I feel that if you compare it to international markets, I think we are also equally about what is the story that it's telling. Right, because
it's always about the story,
there is that emotional quotient also. And so if your story is strong, if your concept is strong, then whether you choose trend A, trend B, or make a trend C, your message is going to go to the audience, and especially when it comes to us as Indians, I think. But yeah, I feel that now people are being much more accepting.
Yeah, that's the thing now, and it's a quite a vast subject on this.
Yeah, exactly.
Altogether, in this situation, trends and everything, this AI. Do you think AI? Are we gonna lose our jobs because of AI?
No, I think if you also see how AI has evolved over the past few months,
actually,
right? I think around October, November is where everybody was talking about, or rather starting to really get familiar with Midjourney, with ChatGPT.
Yeah.
I think today there is not just ChatGPT, but there are like n number of AI tools, right? And I think as far as our jobs are concerned, I feel like AI is just going to make our jobs easier.
Yeah, 100%.
Right. So because see, there is a certain skill involved in even writing a prompt.
That's very important.
Be it for ChatGPT, be it for Midjourney, be it for now generative AI in Photoshop or Firefly, there is a lot that you can do with it. There is a lot that you can do much faster with it. So I feel like AI is just going to make our lives, or is already making our lives much simpler.
Yeah.
Right? Because when you're talking about ChatGPT, for example, now ChatGPT, again, there is so much you can do. It's not just about
you can do.
It's not just about writing copy. It is also ideation.
Correct.
And I think the fact that right now where we are, I think designers especially also should really explore not just the design part of AI, but everything else.
Everything else, correct.
Because the more you know in terms of what tools are there, the more you'll be able to kind of stay ahead of the curve. And also you will also realize that your life is much more simpler thanks to AI.
Correct. And the quality also will change.
Yeah, and this is something that we've been doing at Changing Tree also. We've been using AI already for the work that we do, right? And especially now with Photoshop and with Firefly and all of those, with AI being integrated into Adobe as well, I think it's a major boon to us as designers, and we're seeing that now, like in real time, right? So I think as a designer also, right now it's not just about just the Adobe side of things. It's not just about Midjourney, but even ChatGPT, even the other tools. It's something that I feel like the more you know, the better you will be. And this is something like I think even at Changing Tree is what we're doing, where the whole idea of what we started with, which is creativity and technology, right? That is something that we are also trying to put into our work on a day-to-day basis. So it's not just the creativity angle of it, but the tech that AI brings in. And I think for somebody new or for somebody who's looking to get into something where they can do things with AI, where they can do things with technology, I think right now where we are and where we are as Changing Tree as well, I think it's a great place to be. And I feel like anybody, and I've seen this with the design team and I'm sure you have as well, that anybody who comes in not only just gets to do the creativity part of it, but also gets to learn so much more about the technology angle of it.
Yes.
So I think that is something that at least I try to also lead with every day. And while we're not forgetting the creativity angle, we're also learning more and more about the technology angle.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we're in a good place as a design team and as a team at large.
100%. I've gained so much because I'm a person who wants to get into different, aspects and learn different things. And this place is so cool to give us that much amount of knowledge of different designers and everyone. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Anirudh, for this. I hope the audience have got insightful knowledge on this, and it was a beautiful episode.
Yeah, I had fun.
I had fun too. So, on this note, thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. Please subscribe this channel, and then see you in the next episode.